Hello again, everyone. It's Rachel Kramer, MCC Research Librarian, and this video will teach you how to create citations for your group advocacy speech assignment. For this assignment, you must use APA citation style from the American Psychological Association. We're going to focus on the two most common types of sources you will use for this project. First, we'll look at personal interviews. If you have an APA handbook, or if you already use the Purdue Online Writing Lab, which we'll look at later, you may have seen that APA does not officially require a citation for a personal interview. However, because personal interviews are such a big part of this project, your professor has decided that you absolutely must cite them and include an annotation for them. So here is the format you are to use. Last name, comma, first initial, period, year, comma, month, date, in parentheses, personal communication, brackets, personal interview, period. So what would that look like in real life? It would look like this: Cloyd, comma, a period, parentheses, 2022, comma, March 4, period, personal communication, brackets, personal interview, period. It should look exactly like that with the information from your interviews. And don't forget your annotation of 2 to 3 sentences, which identifies the person you interviewed and their role in the organization. In addition, you must include information about the organization itself. And that is how you create citations and annotations for a personal interview. Let's move on to web sources. There are different ways to create citations for web pages and online content, depending on what information is available. First, let's look at online content with an individual author listed. Let's look at this news article about Habitat for Humanity in Waco. We have an author, a date, a title, a site name, and a URL. We have everything we need. This is the format we will follow. Last name, comma, first initial period, middle initial period, year, comma, month, date, in parentheses, period, title of page in italics, period, site name, period, URL, period. So what would our example look like? It would look like this: Richter, comma, R, period, 2021, comma, July 16, in parentheses, period, Habitat for Humanity to raise walls of new homes Saturday, in italics. And notice how only Habitat for Humanity and Saturday are capitalized. Everything else is lowercase. That is proper APA style. Then we have the site name, fox44news.com, and the URL. Note how I've added retrieved March 4, 2022 from before the URL. It isn't strictly necessary, but it is a good thing to do if the content of this page is likely to change over time. But what if we don't have a specific author listed? For example, let's look at this press release from the Humane Society of Central Texas. I actually found it on the City of Waco website, not the Humane Society's website. We have a contact name for Christy Acosta, but we don't actually know if she's the author of this press release. We do have a title, a date, a site, and a URL. Rather than an individual author, however, we can consider the Humane Society as the author. So we will follow this format: group name, period, year, comma, month, date, in parentheses, period, title of page in italics, period, site name, period, URL, period. So what would our example look like? It would look like this: Humane Society of Central Texas, period, 2022, February 23rd, in parentheses, period, Humane Society of Central Texas announces new executive director in italics, period. And note how only Humane Society of Central Texas is capitalized. Everything else is lowercase. Site name, waco-texas.com, followed by the URL. I did not put retrieved from in here because as a linked PDF document, the page is unlikely to change. Also, let's say that this press release were hosted on the Humane Society of Central Texas's website instead of the City of Waco website. If that happens where both the group author and the website have the same name, you do not need to list the website. Let's look at our next example. What do you do if you don't have an individual author or even a group author? Let's look at the Men of Color Success Initiative page. We definitely don't have an individual author, and MCC really doesn't proclaim itself as the author either, as in the case of a press release. So we will follow the format for no author. Our citation will look like this. Title of page in italics, period, year, comma, month, date, in parentheses, period, site name, period, URL, period. So the Men of Color Success Initiative page would look like this. Men of Color Success Initiative in italics, and because that is a proper noun for the name of the group, everything is capitalized. And we did not have a date either in this case, and that's actually pretty common for web sources. When that happens, simply put N period D period in lowercase. That is short for no date. Then the site name, McLennan Community College, period, and the URL. And again, if I was afraid that this content would change, which I'm not in this case, I could add retrieved March 4, 2022, from right before the URL. And those are the ways to cite web pages and online content in APA style. I mentioned the Purdue Online Writing Lab earlier, so let's take a quick look at it because it is my absolute favorite resource for citations. The Online Writing Lab, or OWL, is a free service from Purdue University and has been around for many years. It is a very authoritative source for both APA and MLA citation information. To find it, simply search Purdue OWL APA or type in owl.purdue.edu. The OWL will tell you exactly how to format your paper, how to create in-text citations in the body of your papers, and how to create citations for a references list. They even have a sample APA paper that you can see to make sure yours is formatted correctly. It can take some time to learn under which section all the different types of sources are listed, so it can be a little frustrating in the beginning in that sense. However, it truly is the best resource out there, so I strongly encourage you to use it until you are comfortable with it. The OWL also links to an outside citation generator called Citation Machine. Let's see what it does with our Men of Color Success Initiative. I am going to copy the URL. I will select website here and paste the URL in this box, and I will click the orange Cite button. It will look for the website, and yes, this is the right web page I want to cite, so I will hit Cite again. And it's telling me what they found. I will hit Continue. They would like me to add information about the author and the publisher and the date it was published, but again, we did not have that information. So I will click Complete Citation. And there it is. And actually, I don't think this is right. ND should be after the title, and initiative should be capitalized. In addition, the site name is McLennan Community College, not Men of Color. So this citation is incorrect. It did actually do a very good job with the new source I tried earlier. So citation generators can definitely be helpful, but they are absolutely not perfect. And a lot of them require you to pay a monthly subscription. There are quite a few citation generators out there. Other citation generators available to you include Citavi, EasyBib, EndNote, ProCite, RefWorks, and Zotero. I honestly think it's easier, faster, and safer to teach yourself to create proper citations using the Purdue OWL, but feel free to use whichever method works best for you. As always, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to let a librarian know. You can find all of our contact options on our homepage, mclennan.edu/library.